Main thing is to get the message out there for public safety. On our end, maybe we could start the meeting by just doing a quick introduction of everyone on board. And I want to give an opportunity for Captain Monhay to say a few words, and also introduction to one of our newest NROs, Elisa Barrios. So when we get started, we'll kind of do it that way. And then after that, I'll go ahead and take the presentation. Just give some examples of some tips that we can utilize in the Christmas season, the shopping season. And the main thing is about networking.
Okay, absolutely. And I was just, a couple of the thoughts that came to my mind in just thinking about this conversation where, the at night when employees are getting off, teamwork and buddy systems to get people to cars and all the type of things that we always want to be a little bit more aware of as, holiday seasons go around and people, especially getting off later in the evening, the late shifts at night. So that's something that happens quite frequently since a lot of businesses close, after a certain time in the evening. Especially with the new, I think how long does the Pure Lounge stay open? I've never been up that late.
It's open till 2.
It is? Is it 2? Okay.
Yeah. And then the streets come alive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you stay up till 2, Dawn?
Not anymore. I used to. For
I used to be a party animal, but I quit.
But you know what? Tomas from Roberto's is always up then, and he always knows everything going on. So he briefs us when we go in for dinner to Roberto's on whatever happens the Friday night before.
Yeah, I guess what I was hoping to do is just do a brief introduction when we start, Lieutenant Ramirez, and just thank everybody for showing up, and then allow everybody to introduce yourself as we go into that, and then you can cover the things you want to review as well.
Excellent.
Perfect. Just by scanning some of the names, I see a familiar name. Curtis Barba?
Yeah, I saw that name hidden in there.
Yeah, Curtis Barba.
I'm just checking up on you guys. I'm just
Hey.
yeah.
Trying to be.
Where's the video at, buddy? We need to see your face.
Oh,
haven't seen you in such a long time.
that doesn't. Yeah, we're depending on where I'm at, I'm not allowed to use it. This moment, I'm not allowed to use video. Yeah, I appreciate it though. Yeah, I know you really wanted to see me.
Well, nice hearing from you.
Yeah.
Incognito only works if your name's not there. So how has things been going? Just overall, just general recently in the city. Any new things that have happened recently that's
overall the city obviously this time of year ramps up, so we deploy our resources strategically. So one of the things that we started yesterday, which I think per our conversation, prior conversations, it's our burglary suppression detail, which we've been running for approximately 6 to 7 years now. And that started yesterday. So we have our units out there proactively enforcing law, educating folks, looking for areas which have been victimized lately, in particular residential burglaries. But we also look for and collaborate with our patrol units for commercial burglaries and so forth. And also, it's the same unit that conducted that extensive investigation that was documented in late September, early October. We got a lot of news coverage on that. Individuals that were tied to a group out of the East Bay. So cleared hundreds and hundreds of auto burglaries. So that's exactly the same unit, but we have additional patrol units that are temporarily assigned, and they work typically, throughout the day. Depends on what the evidence and the trends are leading towards, but we typically work off hours because that's when the burglaries happen. So
right.
Yeah, so that's beginning of the holiday season is very busy for us. So we deploy our resources accordingly.
And, hopefully in this conversation, you can tell us what things you think might be good for us to kind of communicate in addition to this conversation that we can share out in general information, board meetings and other conversations, because we have a board meeting next week before our next safety meeting again. But that will be, that'll be great. We should have this up and then just reminders from that point. I don't want to keep everybody late. So Lieutenant Ramirez, please, let's proceed. At least we know this is all being recorded.
Awesome. Welcome, everybody. You know what? Let's first go ahead and start by doing a quick roundtable. I see some names on, like we mentioned earlier, Chris Barba, retired PSO. But also, let's just do a quick roundtable so we know who's on board and we could get more familiar. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, I'm Mike Johnson with the Sunnyvale Downtown Association Executive Director. We represent everything in the downtown core district, and our reach is Iowa to Evelyn, from Matilda to Sunnyvale Avenue. So everything within that area is considered part of the downtown district.
Good afternoon, everybody. Fabian Monhay, Captain Special Operations for Sunnyvale Department of Public Safety. I oversee several units, but in particular the Crime Prevention Unit and also our Investigations Bureau.
Lisa, you want to take it away?
Yep. Good afternoon, everybody. So I'm Officer Elisa Barrios. I've been with the department for about 7 years, going on 8, and I'm with the Crime Prevention Unit now for about a year and in charge of Fremont, Homestead, and a couple elementary schools as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
And Dawn?
Hi, everyone. I'm Dawn Mayer. I'm CEO of the Sunnyvale Chamber of Commerce. And I'm really happy that we're having this conversation and look forward to resharing it out to the community. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Interjeet?
Hi, I'm Indrajit Mundra. I'm a president of the Milpitas Chamber of Commerce. Hello, everybody. And I'm also on the Economic Development and Trade Commission at Milpitas. And this is great to have this conversation on how we can take care of the community and involve. I would like to maybe hear some input on how the community can be more involved. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you. And let's go with Connor.
Hi, my name is Connor. I work with Mike Johnson with the Sunnyvale Downtown Association. I'm the admin assistant here. And yeah.
All right. Hello, Connor. And let's go with Curtis Barba.
Hey, thanks, Jose. Curtis Barba, used to work with these guys. Now, post-government life, I'm the security manager here at Lockheed in Sunnyvale.
Awesome. Nice hearing from you again.
Good to see you, Curtis.
And let's go with Fong.
Good afternoon. My name is Fong Tang. I'm part of the corporate team at the Aloft Sunnyvale. I know that this email and the original email was sent over to Jared, but he's no longer with the hotel. So I thought I'd kind of sit in and see if there's any information I need to pass back to the team. But thank you for allowing me to join.
Okay, Fong. Thank you.
Thank you.
And let's go with Christina.
Hi. I also work with Mike Johnson. I'm the event coordinator here for Sunnyvale Downtown Association.
Perfect. And let's finish up with Maria.
Hi there, I'm with the City of Sunnyvale with Economic Development. I actually wanted to listen in since I can share these tips with all the businesses in the community. Thank you.
Appreciate that. All right, we'll go ahead and start a quick presentation, but I first want to introduce Captain Monhay, who oversees all special ops, and he's wanted to give a quick rundown, just really brief, or however long you want to take it. Monhay, just kind of introduce yourself to the group.
Sure thing, Lieutenant. Thank you very much. Well, welcome everyone. We enthusiastically embrace this interaction and engagement with the important members of our business community. As you know, in order to effectively engage our community and so forth, it's important to start with a conversation and communication, and that's what the first step that we're taking. Also is an opportunity to listen from each member that has distinct information, real life experiences and so forth that we can utilize to better serve you and the community. So I really look forward to this collaborative approach. I think it's the first time we've actually done this, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Johnson. But it's something that I look forward to in the future in terms of engaging different areas and business community members throughout the city, not just the downtown, because every member or every business has their own unique community, if you will, that needs to be tailored. Our service needs to be tailored to these specific areas because every area is unique, and we want to be able to effectively utilize our resources to obviously provide public safety at the highest level possible. So myself, I'm been with Sunnyvale for 24 years. I'm currently the captain for special operations, which entails our CPU unit and our OES and our neighborhood preservation and also our investigations unit. So I will communicate and collaborate with our patrol divisions, patrol captains, and communicate with them any concerns, anything that that does come and arise from this meeting. And so all the areas of importance throughout the DPS that relates to crime enforcement and prevention, they'll be advised of the notes and so forth. So we're all on essentially the same sheet of music, if you will. So from our patrol division to our investigations to crime prevention, everyone will know exactly what our perspective is and what we're trying to accomplish. But more than anything, we're here to provide tips and information, but also to glean as much from the business community and how we can help and better serve your entity, if you will. So I look forward to working with you. Thank you so much.
You're on mute.
Let me unmute myself. Thank you, Captain. That was awesome. And with our unit, my name is Jose Ramirez. I've been a lieutenant in our crime prevention unit for the past 5 years. Before that, I've been with Sunnyvale DPS for 25 years, going on 26. So I have a wealth of experience working from patrol and fire, but I really enjoy this position, working with the community, a variety of different topics that come up, but mainly community outreach and letting the people have a voice of what's going on, and having that perspective with 26 years on patrol, realizing we can only do this job effectively, efficiently, and safely if we get the buy-in of the community, right? And there's that transparency. And so the best thing, let me have a news flash for you right now. There's not going to be any kind of earth-shattering safety tips that are going to be coming from me. It's not going to happen. I'll only give you some just common knowledge stuff that maybe we can practice and reinforce. But the main thing that I want to share today is that networking. When you see something, say something. And if you need to call 911 and it's an emergency, obviously call 911. But if there's a hot topic issue, now you have a person that you can call to. You call me, you can reach out to NRO Barrios and get something done, at least start focusing on it. Right now, what I want to do is kind of just introduce our group. So I'm the lieutenant of our crime prevention unit. We have 4 neighborhood resource officers. And with our neighborhood resource officers, we cover a variety of different issues, complaints throughout the city, but mainly with the schools, local businesses, and neighborhoods, right? And with the emphasis on the schools that take the majority of our time. But businesses are there, and we address needs and issues that come up in our business area. That's why we're having this meeting. It's very important. Part of my role also is I try to attend the monthly meeting with the Sunnyvale Downtown Association meeting. It's a great opportunity for me to hear some of the issues that are coming up monthly, to answer some questions from the group and to address issues. And so that's been valuable. And I've been trying to make every single meeting. And at least if I'm not there, I reach out to Mike to give him a heads up and to let him know that I'm still available. And at the end of this meeting, I'm going to share my phone number, my email address, and we'll go ahead and get started like that. One of our newest, not newest, but one of the newer NROs that I wanted to introduce to the group is Elisa Barrios. She has a wealth of experience on patrol. She's been working with us. She does a great job, but I just wanted to introduce her to the group. And if you just want to say a few words, Elisa.
Thank you. So it's definitely a pleasure to work with you guys. We are here, like my supervisor said, we are here for you. So if you guys have any concerns or if you have any problems in your community, then definitely don't hesitate to reach out and report it to us, and we'll do what we can to help you guys, because you're the reason we're here, is to help you keep your businesses safe and the community safe as well.
Thank you, Barrios. So one of the big issues that is coming up for the last couple of months is the homeless issue and the downtown area. And your complaints, your issues are not falling on deaf ears. We've been trying to address it, but it's a complicated issue. And I wish it wasn't that we can just snap our fingers and have housing for several unfortunate people, because it's different levels of this issue, and I think we all can agree to that. But what we've been doing is working with our local shelter, Home First, right here in Sunnyvale, getting advocates out there to the homeless that are actually staying in the Caltrain station building. And we've been working with our fire prevention, because their tents and areas could potentially be a fire hazard. So we've been trying to address that issue, but it's something that is not, it's been looked at for the last couple of months, but we're steady working on it. We were out there yesterday with one of our NROs and fire prevention. So I know that's some of the concerns with some of the business owners and some of the retail coming into our downtown community. What are we doing about that? We're addressing it as early as yesterday. And so we're trying to get these people locations, housing, and working with Home First. But like I said, it's a complicated issue. But I wanted to say, if there are stuff that come up that need a 911 call, if there's people that are out there maybe under the influence or causing a disturbance with patrons or just Sunnyvale residents as they're coming and going, call 911 and just be descriptive on what you see. Because remember, a lot of the issues that have come up in the past was there would be a RP, a reporting party, calling our dispatch, reporting a homeless issue. It's not illegal to be homeless, right? But if there's a homeless issue and they're doing XYZ, that could be a danger to someone. I think before, I think things were getting lost in translation, and the proper 911 services weren't getting addressed to them immediately. So just be descriptive on what you see, and then the dispatcher will actually handle that call appropriately, and we'll get an officer out there to address the issue. Okay. So the big thing with the season, the holiday season, is property crimes, unfortunately. And this is going out through the whole Bay Area, statewide. Potentially property crimes could be going up around this time. So like I said, I want to talk about some tips so we can prevent ourselves from being a victim of maybe auto burglary. And it's kind of, nothing earth-shattering information, but it's sometimes we get complacent on what we're doing. We're out there shopping, and well, I'm just going to go to Target, and then I'm going to go to Whole Foods, and I left some product in my car. Hey, Sunnyvale's a safe area, right? I'm just going to leave some merchandise in the back, and we get complacent like that. So it's just a reminder that we got to do our due diligence. If you see something, if you have some product or some merchandise in a bag, in a Macy's bag or a Target bag, put it in the trunk if possible. Lock it away so it's not visible when someone just peering in through your car door. And try to park in a well-lit area, right? Where sometimes the crooks or thieves are not going to want to go into the light. They're going to stay in the shadows so no one can see them, and they can actually go out there and do their cloak and dagger stuff. If you have an alarm for your car, go ahead and make sure to turn on your alarm and lock your doors. Harden the situation. And also mark your valuables. If you do have like a nice stereo, it's so easy with iPhones. I take pictures of the serial numbers or save all the information, the serial numbers in the safe at home, because if something is stolen, then we're able to put that product inside the database, and if it's ever recovered, we can link it back to the proper victim, or serialize your item with a engraver, something like that. So nothing earth-shattering, right? But it's a great reminder. Another thing is Captain Monhay talked about this earlier with our burglary suppression detail. And so this year, I believe we have 5 detectives and 2 patrol officers. That is a ton of resources that are out there that are going after the bad guy. And we publicize it. It was just on our social media. We want people to know if they're coming to Sunnyvale, we have some guys out there that are looking for them. While they're looking and being porch pirates, we're looking for them, right? So, but we just can't be targets. Everyone uses Amazon now, right? And so a lot of people are sending their stuff to the home. We just got to be smart about how we're doing it. Sometimes you can track your product and make sure it's being delivered. Maybe when someone is there. Network with your neighbors, someone that you know. So if you have product that's delivered to your house, like, hey, you know what, you might go into my house and just pick it up from front porch, and I'll pick it up from you later. Just being smart about things. When you just see a nice box, Amazon box outside your house, you're opening yourself up to be a target, because unfortunately, there's people out here that are shopping, and they're shopping because they're out there stealing in neighborhoods. But like I said, we have a crew of 7 officers, some undercover, some highly skilled detectives that do a great job out there that are looking for these porch pirates. But first of all, don't be a victim, and try to prevent that as much as possible. Oftentimes that we'll have them go to areas where it's a hot item, or maybe there's an area within the city that we're getting a lot of calls for auto burglaries. Now we're able to deploy this team throughout the whole city. So if you guys are seeing something in your community, right, in the downtown area, let me know. That's why sharing this information and having those contacts is very important. Now we're able to deploy our resources out there efficiently, smarter, so we can do our job safely, right? For the citizens and for us. So we talked about the burglary suppression team. What I wanted to do, like I said, is talk about networking. And so every month, Sunnyvale Downtown Association has a meeting I try to attend to answer some questions, to facilitate some issues that are coming up on our end, address issues. But we also host, the Sunnyvale DPS hosts a Sunnyvale Challenge Team meeting. And we have a lot of people that come, and just for the last 2 years, we've been doing the Zoom meetings, but now we're finally doing it in person. And so again, it's all about networking. And so I wanted to invite the members here to our next Sunnyvale Challenge Team meeting in December. It's a little different. It's called Reasons for a Season, Seasons for a Reason, something similar to that with that verbiage, but it's on December 15th. We normally meet over here at Sunnyvale headquarters, but it's mainly going to be a drop off for unused toys and warm coats at our headquarters parking lot, and all those items get delivered down to the Sunnyvale Community Services, and they can be given out to people in need throughout this holiday season. But in January, we host our regular Sunnyvale Challenge Team meeting, and it looks like it's on the third Thursday of each month, and that lines up on January 19th. And we have it at 8:30, and it's going to be in our new EOC building at headquarters. So I welcome everyone to come out to that meeting, because like I said, it's all about networking, sharing phone numbers, and when you do have an issue, something that comes up, you have someone to call. It's a familiar face that you pick up the phone and you're like, hey, Jose, I got something going on. I need some assistance. If I can't help you, I know someone else that can, right? And so that's how things get solved. And also, we're big with using social media, right? And we use Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to kind of highlight some of the cool stuff that we're doing in Sunnyvale DPS. I think a few days ago, we highlighted the burglary suppression detail, making everyone aware of what we're doing out there, the citizens, and also the bad guys. And maybe it is used as a deterrent. But if they do decide to come into Sunnyvale, we're going to have someone actually looking for them and try to deter them before they commit crime in our area. So I just wanted to end real quick with some contact information. Like I said, my name is Lieutenant Jose Ramirez, and my office phone number, and you could give me a call anytime. I have a bad habit of checking my emails when I'm not at work, and it goes directly to my emails, and I'll get back to you, I promise, within 24 hours to give you a response. My phone number is 408-730-7114. You call me anytime, and also you can reach out to me and send me an email. And my email address is JO Ramirez, RAMIREZ @sunnyvale.ca.gov. And like I said, it's I'm here for you. If you guys have any questions, we'll kind of just utilize this time right now, maybe for a little Q&A. If anyone on the board right now has a question, maybe with my help or the captain's help, or Inero Badios, maybe we can address some issues that are coming up right now, or if you have ideas. We'll go ahead and open up the floor.
So first, thank you. Go ahead, please. No, is it Inderjet?
Yep.
Please.
So I have a quick question is, with everything that's happening in today's environment, it's usually a big help if the community can help. And just, like you mentioned earlier, to have sort of an early warning, or, just have some knowledge about any incidents about to happen or something. What kind of programs exist for that? Where just the public is enrolled in, sort of being informative or encouraged to be informative or something?
Excellent question. I'll take that one, Lieutenant. So I think the question is how you can report crimes. Is that it? Or how you can receive information?
More to motivate the public to be engaged in reporting.
Absolutely. We're, like Lieutenant Ramirez had mentioned, we're very active in social media. We have an excellent media person that keeps everybody engaged and enthused and in their community. So if you follow, in particular, our Twitter and Instagram, you'll see a lot. You'll see a lot of our interaction. And I could forward the 3 links. We have Facebook, Instagram, and primarily Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. It's the way we try and handle it is we try and foster a community type of perspective, in that Lieutenant
Nice.
Ramirez and patrol officers on a daily basis, on a call basis. We try and utilize each opportunity to create and foster that better relationship and
Yes.
to communicate with the citizens. Hey, if you see something, don't explain it away. A lot of times, if you see something that is wrong and you interpret it as wrong, call us. If it's an emergency, you call 911. You can always call our non-emergency line, or there's a method in which you can submit information through our department or through the city portal. And you can explain, hey, this is ongoing, this information, it could be a suspicious person, suspicious group. It could be a public hazard, if you will, and that information will get submitted to the responsible unit
Right.
in our department. But working for Sunnyvale for over 24 years, the vast majority of our significant crimes are solved by the citizens. They saw something, they recognized something that was off. They called us, they provided a
Right.
description. And the more importantly is not to explain things away. And if you see something that you feel is off, please engage with us and notify us through the proper channel, if you will. Don't be afraid to call 911 because it's critical for us to know. So hopefully
Right.
that answers the question. How to create that enthusiasm and so forth. I mean, it's a beautiful city. We all love being here in Sunnyvale, and we want to keep it as diverse and community engaged as it is, and we want to expand on that. Most importantly, we try and be inclusive and provide equitable services to all members of the city. So if there are individuals that don't speak English, that have different languages, we do have dispatchers and we do have systems where we can receive that information in their own language, and we can decipher it and systematically communicate to the responsible unit within our organization or within the department. So hopefully that is, or we're able to answer that. Lastly, we do a lot of community engagement through our CPU unit and our special events, where we constantly continuously have special events, such as one in particular is National Night Out. We go out and we get to know and meet folks in the neighborhoods, reinforce and foster that relationship, so they do know who to ask for, like say Lieutenant Ramirez, and now this is a great opportunity. Now you know who Officer Barrios is, and how we can almost put a name to an officer, so you can reach out for any type of issue.
Thank you. That's quite informative, and I think it offers many more facets to solving these issues. Thank you.
I would like to add, in collaboration with what's been stated already, Dawn, the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, and myself had reached out to public safety earlier about concerns and issues we thought were important. And we weren't trying to look at it as it's a crisis. We were trying to look at it as it is something that is starting to change. And inevitably, we know it's going to get a little bit more difficult before it gets better. So in connection, what we tried to do was to reach out as collaborative community leaders working in our community to our public safety departments and ask, can we create this group? And so normally we have a monthly meeting with public safety stakeholders in the community, developers, other businesses, and people that come in and have a conversation. This is an extension of that, which is a conversation where we were trying to reach out and talk about during the holiday season, best practices, strategies for employers, employees, and visitors to know how to better navigate through things that are just, as Lieutenant Ramirez related to, common practices, but sometimes under, not remembered or not practiced on a regular basis. And it does help to have someone reiterate those types of things. But as a chair, as a president of a chamber, I'm sure you could probably work something within your city that would be very similar, because that's what we think is important, is
Right.
bringing the teams together. And as Lieutenant Ramirez also alluded to, I've sat in on a challenge team meeting, and he might understate it, but I've seen 60, 70 people on those calls at times. There was a lot of people on those calls. And so it is, if you open the door, people will come. And that's what we're trying to do, is open the door of communication so that we're better communicating within city, within public safety, within our departments.
Absolutely.
How we
Yes.
serve our businesses better, if that helps.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I appreciate that. So with that said, I'm going to yield the floor to Lieutenant Ramirez and Officer Barrios to go over some tips. I think that's what we had initially had planned or discussed, specific to the downtown. And I spoke to Dawn previously, personally, and there's going to be follow-up meetings in the future to address other areas in the city, because I think that's very critical, is to engage all important members of the business community. But this specific meeting, we wanted to address the downtown because of what is typically occurs during the holiday season. So I'm going to yield the floor to Lieutenant Ramirez and Officer Barrios.
All right, thank you, Captain. And so as far as tips, like we said, the biggest thing right now is not to be a victim of potentially 459 auto or auto burglary. You know, don't keep merchandise visible in the passenger area of your car. If you have opportunity, lock it up in the trunk. If you're leaving an area at night, you know, do the buddy system, pair it with someone else, walk out, try to park in a well-lit area. So when you're going to your vehicle at night, it's lit up. Just a lot of common sense practices you have to be practiced, and try not to get complacent on where you're at. You know, typically Sunnyvale, one of the safest cities in America, right? But try not to get complacent and use a buddy system. Get your vehicle, maybe you get there and you text your boss or a coworker, I made it here safe, I made it home safe. Just a lot of these common things that we can use during this season. Like I said, there's not a whole lot going on potentially right now. You know, it's across the state that you'll see an uptick in property crime. And, you know, we see the same things that are occurring, but we're trying to do stuff to combat that. So I'll go ahead and leave it. If Barrios, do you have any suggestions that you can think of right now?
No, you pretty much covered it all. Just with your personal property, like if you carry a purse or anything, just try not to leave it unattended, because you don't want to be an easy victim where it could just be carried away. Obviously, don't carry large sums of cash, which most of the time we don't anymore since we all use credit cards. And then just be cautious if you are wearing jewelry, because we have had a few chain snatches. So just kind of just be aware of your surroundings. But like Lieutenant Ramirez said, Sunnyvale is relatively a safe city. We just always have to be cognizant of what's around us.
So in a Q&A kind of perspective of it, I'll just kind of throw a couple of questions out, if that's okay, because I do talk with a lot of businesses on a regular basis. And, you know, one of the things that I want to bring more clarity to and perspective on from, you know, a business owner, an employee of a business, a server serving tables. We have outside dining. We have people that come up periodically and approach people. You know, sometimes the unhoused will come up and ask and, you know, request something from somebody. And understanding that a lot of those situations don't warrant, let's say, you know, someone getting there in a timely fashion. So I would just kind of use it as an explanation is, if you see something, get as much information as you can, a picture if possible, a description if possible, because if you call, you know, because of the amount of activity and locational positioning of public safety during any given day, they might not be able to be present in the immediate time frame that a person comes and goes. That information is crucial. And I'm sure that's what most would want to kind of take away from as a best practice for that. Sometimes people are a little bit more aggressive to, maybe outside seaters. We're at the Plaza del Sol, for example, directly across from the Caltrain, and those kind of things. We understand that there is situations. So, I think that one of the big questions where I know you say if there's a problem and you see something and it's a problem, call 911, but at the same time, just know that the more information you capture, the better it is for the people that are trying to address and respond to it later on. Is that a good way of addressing it?
Yes, Mike, I think you nailed it. One thing is, everyone has a cell phone, so maybe you can take a picture or a video without triggering this other person's response. You over there, sometimes when you have your cell phone, you're like this, and maybe you could trigger a response from this person that you didn't want. Right. So if safely, do that. And so, but the thing is, if it is a 911 service, if there is a person, right, unhoused, homeless, or maybe an unstable person that's harassing somebody, maybe it had a little bit too much to drink, that's a 911 call that maybe we can get someone out there sooner than later.
Right.
But if it's an ongoing issue, I think that's the important time. But now you have my email. Now you have myself or my office line. And then I'm attending these monthly meetings, and we could address that. Maybe this is an ongoing issue with this chronic person or problem. Now we can address it because it's not at that immediate need. But there's some issues or maybe some resources that we can throw at the problem to try to resolve it. So, but the main thing is, if you do call 911, you have to be descriptive. And sometimes it's like, hey, there's an unhoused person over here causing a nuisance. It's like, oh, it's not illegal to be unhoused. Be more descriptive on what's happening out there, and then don't lie about it, but it just be descriptive on what's going on, and then we're going to get the proper resources out there. Make sense?
Yes. And I think what you said, and just because I'm trying to regurgitate some of the conversations we've had, and just information. So, somebody walks into, the back side of France's where the parking lot is and the alleyway is. There's somebody in one of the corners in a corner sleeping. That's a regular call. There's somebody that's in a business that's not open. They're just, sleeping or whatever. It's not illegal to do that. And if it's private property, if it's one thing, if it's not, then it's not an issue. So that's a general call, not a 911 call, because somebody's in a place. If somebody is approaching somebody, then that's a different one. And these are the kind of things, because the most important thing is I want employees and employers to be able to help communicate to their staff how to address an issue, meaning how to speak to it.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page with that issue. Just be descriptive, and sometimes don't rationalize it. If you just see something kind of off, a suspicious person, why is it suspicious? Why do you think, and all that stuff, and then we can send some resources out there. Is this guy loitering around in the parking lot? Well, maybe he's looking for his vehicle, right? Or maybe not. And be descriptive. And if we have resources available, we'll send them that way. And one, to talk to the person. Maybe we can help them find his car, if that was the case. Or maybe he was up to no good, and then we can assist him in other ways. Right.
So theft, protective, don't overcarry what you can't manage. Make sure you keep your properties and possessions in close proximity. Don't wear a bunch of flashy things that draws more eye attention to someone who is a possible opportunity. And I guess as far as people that just walk the streets on a regular basis, Is it a best practice to just call if there's someone? I mean, if someone's sleeping on a bench, there's no problem with that. I just want to get people so they're not calling for the wrong things. That's what I want to make sure I'm trying to
I'll
do.
go ahead and answer that one,
Great.
Mr. Johnson. So I think we're talking about two different things here. So we have a quality of life issue where an individual is, for whatever reason, they're down on their luck, they're unhoused, they're looking for nourishment, a warm place to stay. They're asking for, it is not illegal to be unhoused.
Right.
It's public. If there's a public space, they have a right to be in that public space. And our objective here at Sunnyvale TPS is to engage with these members of our community that are having a hard time in their life at that time, and we try and steer them to services.
Right.
And if there's an ongoing individual, you can reach out to our CPU unit and we'll send our CIT folks, because a lot of, unfortunately, some unhoused folks do have substance abuse or mental backgrounds, and we're trying to get them the assistance that they need. They're not committing a crime.
Right.
And we'll try and do that. We'll try and steer social services to them so they can have a permanent solution to their ongoing issue. Handcuffing and taking them to county jail is not the solution that we utilize anymore. Now, safety tips for shopping is very important for individuals to know their surroundings and know where they're at all times. Unfortunately, and it's road safety as well. You have folks crossing the street, walking with their nose in their phone, not paying attention to what's around them, not paying attention to whether they're being followed, not having their keys ready for when they approach their personal vehicle, that they're not fumbling around, putting things down, basically being the target, right? You got to be smart out there. We've all gone shopping in different areas in the Bay Area and in the United States, and it's incumbent upon you as a citizen to be smart about how you handle yourself, and have your head on a swivel at all times. Park in unwielded areas, being escorted to the car, walking in groups. But most importantly is to know your surroundings. And if you do have a confrontation with somebody, do not escalate the situation. Defend yourself as you need to, but what's important is to seek a safe location, call 911, do not resist if there is an escalation with a weapon, and try and like you mentioned, gather as much information so when the police do come, you're able to report it. But the worst thing to do is to engage in a violent interaction with an individual. Try and de-escalate. Don't raise your voice or your tone. Try and comply and get a law enforcement there as quickly as possible, but after finding a safe location to do so. Now, businesses themselves, it's very important to understand and see who your regular customers are. See if there's suspicious activity by a new patron that's asking odd questions. Where do you keep your money? Seeing where the deliveries are made and you're being watched. Those are all things that you can call us on and say, hey, it's a suspicious person. This is the information. This is the car they're acting completely different than the normal customer, and there might be a reason why. Okay, don't explain it away. But package thefts. I personally don't have packages delivered to my house. I go and do the pickups. Unfortunately, we cannot be everywhere 24 hours a day. We have to prioritize our calls for service. It's not just a regional issue, it's a issue across the whole nation, the package thefts. People are following Amazon trucks, UPS trucks, DHL trucks. They wait for them to drive off and they're walking up and they're picking things off. I've unfortunately been a victim of many package thefts at my personal residence. So I go and make appointments and pick my items up, especially if it's a high-end piece of equipment. It's a sign of the times, unfortunately, especially with shopping centers and malls downsizing, if you will, and everyone going online shopping. And when it comes to house protection, we send out tips through our Twitter on how to make your home safe, especially if you're going to be going away for vacation and so forth. But in terms of business specific downtown, communicate with each other. It's important to communicate with all the businesses. If you're having a particular problem with one individual that's causing disturbances, get us involved. Usually if it's one person causing a disturbance, they're causing a disturbance throughout the whole entire area. And it's important for us to know. And lastly, yes, we do respond in an efficient manner, but understand that we all are also public safety. We're one of the only departments that does respond to significant medical calls because we're EMTs as well. So if there is a delay, understand that we are responding to fires, which no other law enforcement agencies do, and we also respond as EMTs. So just understand that we do have a significant amount of resources and patrol units out to provide safety. But if there is an issue, understand that the call will be prioritized, and if there's a significant violent act occurring in another part of the city, those units will be addressing that issue first. But lastly, come down to being a good witness, gathering critical information, and from a safe, non-confrontational position. And once you get that information, be ready to provide it to our dispatchers and to our responding officers.
That's great. I mean, that's exactly, these are the things, and I appreciate each one of you giving a different perspective on it, because I think that's really the most important thing. I don't want, it's not that it's my call or my choice, but I don't want business owners not to understand how to approach a situation, not to understand, seek to understand rather than being understood is how I look at, things. So if we can help give them understanding of how to talk to their employees, hey, that guy, well, did you do this? Did he do something? We're more inclined to say, if it looks out of place, say something. If it doesn't look out of place, it might just be, there's an unhoused person and he's not doing anything wrong. It's just the way things are. And we have to be understanding enough to know that everybody's not up on their best foot at some time in life. Right. So I get that. So I appreciate it, because that's the help that I think businesses, and hopefully these kind of conversations will expand to, employees, which will expand to families. And again, that's what it's really all about, because this is a multi-tier. It's the ripple effect of information. Dawn, you have anything you want to?
I do. I always have something to add, Mike.
I didn't want to leave you.
This is great. I really appreciate the good tips, and I've taken copious notes. I only hope I can read them later. We did share this out to the greater business community, but we did it a little bit last minute. And the other thing is, I from a chamber standpoint, we've never been a part of a conversation like this. So it's very valuable, and it'll take people a little bit of time to recognize how important this is. And, we walk that fine line between not wanting to be alarmists in our approach, but wanting to have people engaged and understanding the high value of the relationships that we form when we get together like this. So I think it's because I know people that live in Sunnyvale that up till, 4 years ago, never locked their doors for their houses because they just thought it was so darn safe. So there's a lot that has changed in the last several years, and it's, to find a way to educate people about what they need to know, because we all see people every day walking across the street, never looking to see if it's even kind of safe. And so this is a great start to beginning to educate people about all of us, myself included. I was looking up the other day something that I could put my computer in so that when it's in the car, it doesn't go missing. And I saw the Faraday bag. Do you guys know the Faraday bag or what that is? Any insights, any insider tips here?
It kind of blocks your signal on it. It's a bag that blocks a signal, so you're not transmitting. So if you have your, like we talked in the past, where you put a computer in your back trunk and you got your computer on, you just close it. Obviously, you're still sending out signals, and that Faraday bag kind of just blocks that signal, so it doesn't disperse any information. So it's not something that can be picked up.
Yeah, yep. Essentially, what we recommend are for folks to turn their devices off.
Right.
So if your laptop and you walk away from your business and you're working on the Wi-Fi and you don't turn it off, it's continuously looking for the Wi-Fi. And that's any electronic device. And suspects have apps on their phones where they can detect exactly where an electronic device is located specifically within a particular area of a vehicle. So that's something that we do send out. And when we send out our tip sheet, our auto burglary tip sheet, I think the last time we sent it out was in September, but we can always resend it now in the holidays, but that does have a portion in there. And you're right, that's in another option is to purchase that unit to prevent the signal from being sent
Transmitted.
out, transmitted. But we recommend folks just to shut down their device. That way,
Okay.
nobody even knows that it's even in there, and lock everything in your trunk. Because if you leave any bag whatsoever in a visible location, the window's going to get broke. I mean,
Okay.
you look at some of the areas in the Bay Area, it's getting to the point where some individuals are just rolling their windows down, leaving the car unlocked, leaving a sign saying there's no valuables. Unfortunately, we're not anywhere near that. Sunnyvale is still one of the safest cities because of our collaborative approach and engagement with the citizens. We have great citizens out there, but unfortunately, folks come from out of the area, and Sunnyvale is one of the main targets for theft. But that's an excellent tool to use. So thank you very much, Dawn, for bringing that up.
All right, thank you.